All right. So yesterday I did the Xbox part one of part four of the series that I want to do on YouTube. And today I'm going to talk about PlayStation because, after after the game showcase, the Summer Games Fest this year, every single studio had a lot to put out. They had very strong showings, but at the same time, it's really hard to ignore when these companies, they're probably not having the best of times compared to, like, for example, PlayStation. The PS4 generation was just completely peak, right? That they completely dominated that entire generation, starting from 2013 all the way to like 2020, right? When the generation ended. Obviously, I think Nintendo's most likely a separate conversation because their entire Nintendo Switch generation was probably, not a lot. They had a very strong third party support, but not like what we're about to see with the Nintendo Switch 2, because that's gonna. I feel like every single game in existence is gonna get ported to the Nintendo Switch 2. But today I want to talk about PlayStation, and honestly, I feel like, with all the console wars going on, PlayStation as well, they're not having the best of times. I feel like, especially with a generation that only has like a year or two left before the next generation comes in, it doesn't feel like it's matured enough. I almost feel like the next generation should probably be, you know, delayed a few more years. Let's see. I have a list here of first party PlayStation 5 games. I think these might be all. Like, I'm only counting games that didn't have a PlayStation 4 counterpart, right? Gran Turismo 7, that also came out on the PS4. God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West. Those, even though I've played them a little bit on the PS5, they look phenomenal. But you also can't rule out, that they also came out on the PS4. So, like, if you're one of the people, if you're a customer that never upgraded, to the PS5, never got an Xbox Series S and X, you're eating. Like, the companies supported these legacy platforms that came out 2013 a long time. Like, if you bought an Xbox One, PS4, never in 2013 and never, upgraded, you've been doing fine for what, 13 years. Like, now we're getting like games that are not coming out on those old consoles, but even then, it's like, okay. So for example, we had Astrobot by Team Asobi. That was like one of the launch titles for the PS5. No PS4 counterpart. Amazing game. You had Ratchet and Clank by Insomniac. Crazy good. I remember they used that to promote, the Velocity architecture. That was Xbox. They were doing their own thing. They're like, this game only runs on a PS5 SSD. We found out that was false when they came out on Steam, and then even the Steam Deck runs Ratchet and Clank pretty well, but that's a PS5 exclusive, right? You can't play that on PS4. Then you have Demon Souls by Blue Points, RAP. RAP Blue Points. I don't understand why that was, canceled. That poor studio. Did they work on something else after Demon Souls? I think they were going to do like a live service, right? I have to look into that, but unfortunately, they're not they're not with us anymore. Then we have Spider-Man 2 with Insomniac. Okay, Insomniac is one of those studios that has been pumping out games like crazy. They're the only consistent studio with PlayStation that can take out more than one game a generation, because we're getting Wolverine later this year, which I'm not counting on this list yet, only because it hasn't released, but very strong showing, right? Spider-Man 2, amazing. Then we have Horizon Call of the Mountain for the PSVR 2, which, I mean, I wish I would have bought a PSVR 2, but it was so expensive. I loved my PSVR 1. I'm going to fight to the end to say that's one of the best things that PlayStation ever did. It was pretty affordable, at least when I bought it. It was like height of the pandemic. I bought it for like 170 or something like that. It was amazing. Played a bunch of things, played Star Wars Squadrons. It was the best times. Unfortunately, it was more expensive to buy the PSVR 2 than the PS5. So it was like, what's the point at that point? And unfortunately, I think those are the only first, like, actual developed by an in-house first party, like, game, right? I mean, we've had Concord, we've had Marathon, by Bungie. Oh yeah, I forgot to do Marathon. Yeah, we got Marathon, and maybe I'm missing something else, but I think that might be it. We've had other exclusive games that are only on PS5. For example, like Stellar Blade, which is about to end. I mean, it's coming out to the Nintendo Switch 2, and it already came out on PC. I'm not really counting PC right now because Xbox and PlayStation have been doing this strategy of putting their games on PC, which I'm pretty sure it's over for PlayStation. At least that's what they're saying. But even then, like if I feel like I'm picking at straws here, which with games that are exclusive, because back in the PS4 era, we had God of War exclusive. You had Horizon, Zero Dawn exclusive. You had Ghost of Tsushima exclusive. Wait, Ghost of Tsushima Yote. We have that one as well from Sucker Punch. You just had every single year had like one or two games, and yeah, we had The Last of Us Part 2. We had Uncharted 4. We had Uncharted Lost Legacy. We had 3 Naughty Dog games. I don't know about Lost Legacy though. I don't know if that was Naughty Dog. Was that Naughty Dog? I'm pretty sure it was. So it's been rough, right? And Xbox has been guilty of this before as well, but I feel like Xbox has had a better showing this year than PlayStation, this generation. I mean, I would like to do a video comparing like the exclusives that both consoles have taken out this generation, and in that video I would probably count also games that came out on PS4, PS5. But I'm just gonna look at first party games made by in-house studios for that video, but that's for a separate video. This video, I want to talk about how PlayStation is also in a very tight spot, right? I mean, PS5, we got the PS5 Pro as well, and that gave us like a midway point taste of what the PS6 might give us. So we have PSSR, which is PlayStation, I think Super Resolution, which is like their own very specific way of doing like FSR or NVIDIA DLSS. And I saw a video from Digital Foundry like a few months ago when they finally did like a huge overall update to PSSR, and it's like really good. Like if you own a PS5 Pro, you are eating right now with the best in-house graphics that a console can possibly give. But was it necessary? I think for PlayStation to work on their PSSR and their Super Resolution in-house version of what, instead of having to deal with FSR and the updates that come with AMD, for example, because these machines are AMD. I think it's great. It's gonna, depending on how much money PlayStation puts into their, well, let me put some music into their infrastructure, then that's how many gains they're gonna have for the PS6, which is great. Xbox does not have one of those things, and I think they're doing fine. I mean, they have a really close, I would say even closer relationship with AMD than PlayStation does. So we'll see. Let's see. Right. We had PlayStation's gamble at live service games, which unfortunately did not work out. Right. We did not work out. Helldivers was like a one-hit wonder, and they didn't really own Arrowhead Studios. I think they kind of own part of it now, but because that's like technically their best selling, was exclusive to the PS5 and Steam. Now it's on Xbox, which makes sense. I think multiplayer games, like live server games, deserve to be on every console if Sony or PlayStation want to reap the goods, if they want to make the most money possible. But I think, in my opinion, unfortunately, PlayStation has never had a good track record with multiplayer games. Like if we think back to the PS3, 360, PS4, Xbox One era, you always looked at the games that each of these two companies had to offer, and Microsoft almost always had like a multiplayer component to all their games. You had Halo, you had Forza, you had Gears of War, you had everything else that they made, and they always had like a multiplayer component. State of Decay, Sea of Thieves. Almost every single one of their first party games always had like a some sort of multiplayer component, and it did well. Every game had its own niche audience. Like, I think when companies try and get Gears of War or Halo 2 to have like massive multiplayer audience, they're probably betting on the wrong franchise, because these franchises have like their own established base, right? They're not like Fortnite, that it was everything when they released. And PlayStation never, I feel like they never really did multiplayer that well, right? I mean, you had your one-hit wonders like Uncharted, The Last of Us, which is still going strong. But most of their lineup for the PS4, for example, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Zero Dawn, there's no multiplayer. No multiplayer. So I feel like going into the PS6, or maybe if they do happen to extend the life cycle for the PlayStation and the Xbox, the companies need to start focusing on what they do best. PlayStation needs to find a way to start shortening the dev cycles for each of their games from 2 to 3 years. If that means using a very, like, for example, this is something that I've been talking about with some of my friends and my brother. Like, let's say they release, let's say right now with Insomniac, and I'm pretty sure this is what they're doing. You have the engine that they did for Spider-Man 2, that very specific iteration of the engines for Spider-Man 2, like, just keep that, right? You don't need to like upgrade the engine to run 3 times better and get 5 times the detail for the next game. Just like use that very specific iteration of the engine. Reuse assets if you must, right? Just like find a way to shorten the dev cycle for the next game. I don't know, dude. Like, there needs to be like a middle ground, and I hope that's what Insomniac's doing. But I'm pretty sure that's why there was a rumor like a week ago that even Sony's looking at Naughty Dog like with a bit of disapproval, because no new game this whole gen is crazy. There needs to be multiple teams inside of each studio working on AA and maybe AAA games, like God of War. Like what we're watching here, like it looks amazing, and we know they're working on the next God of War, and then we have the God of War remake. Like maybe in like 2 or 3 years, we're gonna be eating good with God of War. So this is one of those studios, Santa Monica, that's I think probably figured it out, because graphically speaking, this God of War I think was very similar to Ragnarok, which sure looks also similar to the reboot for God of War in 2018, but I feel like studios it might have taken a long time, like the entire decade, but I hope they're starting to figure it out. So we all want these studios to bring back, sequels at a faster rate. Maybe games being, and like we're tired of waiting 10 plus years for a sequel. Like Halo, between Halo 5 and Infinite, that was like 2015 to 2021. That was 6 years. A lot of people died waiting for Halo Infinite. But this brings me to my last point, that Sony, more than any other, console manufacturer or studio, has like so many dormant IPs. And it right now that the live service battle royale craze is starting to die out, like it is time to start bringing back some of these old IPs. They need to start doing remakes. I know a lot of people probably don't like remakes, but it's such a good way to gauge if there's interest for that franchise, right? If they were to announce, hey, we're remaking Ratchet and Clank, like it's I feel like even if you were to give it to a small 10-person, 20-person dev team, like that's passionate for that game, like Mystic, the YouTuber, I know he's a huge fan of Jack and Daxter, I meant to say. Like, if you were to give like a small 10 to 20 person dev team, hey, remake this game, give them like a year, they're gonna rebuild the entire island from the first Jack and Daxter like this, right? I feel like some of these older games, they're so small in scale compared to nowadays, that you could be pumping out these remakes, remasters for these platformers, for example, like this. Even Resistance: Fall of Man, that's a game that could probably be done like this. But the problem is if they're trying to push like the highest fidelity graphics for every single new release, like I feel like it just gets bottlenecked. And I mean, I'm not saying we don't want games to look good, but like we're at a point right now where we can take out games like the Spyro Reignited trilogy, the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, the new Spyro, these Astrobot, and they already look amazing. We're at a point where engines can just like pump out some of the best looking games, and It's just because the engines are so advanced. Like we're at a point like maybe we don't even need the PS6 right now. Maybe for like another 5 years. Like I just don't understand. There's thousands of developers under Sony. There's thousands of developers under Microsoft. I don't know why not get like 100-person team, split them into like 5 groups, right? 10, 20 people per group, and just like have them work as hard as they can. See how far they can progress into like a remake for an older IP, like a Banjo-Kazooie, like a Jenga Daxter, and just like have them show it off like a year after work, and then if it's far along in its development cycle, then you bring in more people, right, to assist, to finish, to polish. Like if the gameplay is there and everything, then it's like boom. I'm just saying, like, PlayStation has a treasure trove of extremely old IPs that they would make so much more money. Bring back Killzone, bring back Resistance, bring back Infamous, bring back all these games. Like, I know people have been saying for years, but it's like, it's such easy money, right? PS3 era has been 20 years ago at this point, right? Entire generations of kids have grown up without these. Like for like millions of new product owners, PlayStation owners they're turning 18 right now. They've probably never heard of Infamous. They've never heard of like Jack and Daxter. Like it would be like a new game for them. It's like Halo. Yeah, everyone knows Halo, but like there's a lot of people that never played Halo or the Halo anniversary because it just feels outdated. So this is like high time for them to bring back some of these older IPs, make some good money, bring back the base, bring it back to what it was once in the PS4, because we all know that's what PlayStation wants, right? They want to dominate the entire industry again by having the best in class, epic, cinematic, single player experiences, and I think they already have it. They already got the formula down. Yes, we need games to look good, but at the same time, we don't need them to look so good that they take half a decade to make. That's just me, though. That's just the thoughts of this Hispanic. But I think that will be all. I had some other notes here that I didn't get to. I kind of rambled on for too long. But this is just one of the things that I'm trying to work on when making these videos. I want to have less stutter. I want to be able to talk clearly, have some, points that I want to make and just get my thoughts across. Now, let me know if I confused any of you guys, if anyone watches this. I have had a few views on the previous videos, and I had a comment yesterday on the previous one, which I'm so happy for. Even I think it was a hate comment. Let me see. No haptics, no gyro, no adaptive triggers, no VR, no studio, no hardware. I think they don't like Xbox. I had 7 views on the previous video, so I mean, hey, I'll take them. So tomorrow I'm gonna do the video on Nintendo. Tomorrow's Friday, so I'll do Nintendo, and then I'm gonna do something special for the weekends. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I want to have Mondays through Fridays just be like my thoughts on the game industry, my thoughts on what's happening, any news, anything of the sort, and then on the weekends I'm gonna do something special. And these are supposed to be like for my gaming playlists, my art ones. I'm still working on them. I need to finish a commission tonight, and maybe I'll start doing more of that. I have some things down the pipeline, but they're going to take some time. These gaming videos are specifically made for me to be able to just content create like on a whim. Like I'm doing these in the morning and I'm uploading them in the afternoon. And I just want to get in the cycle, right? I want to get in the groove of making content. Maybe I'll start splicing these up and making some like minute-long shorts for my social media, but we'll see. In the meantime, though, I'm going to stop this video here, and I'm going to get to work on tomorrow's, maybe later tonight, or I'll just record it tomorrow morning as well. But thank you guys for watching. This is video 5? It's like video 4. I want to see if I can get to 7 days straight of me uploading videos, and then I might start, promoting these a little harder because they're fun to make. It's fun to look at the camera, the little black lens, and then just kind of like look into the void and just give my thoughts. There's so many things happening that I'm excited for, that I want to play, that I want to just express, because there's not enough people around me that I can just be like, yo, this is so hot. I mean, I have online friends, but my sphere of people that I know, IRL, they're all working, right? So I'm like, bro, Legend of Zelda, bro, God of War. They're like, Yeah, whatever. They're like, can we play Valorant? So it's like, okay. Man, this looks great. I've been staring. I had other videos lined up to have in the background, but this God of War game looks amazing. I need to actually play them. I almost finished the first one for the PS2 like a year ago, and I got like an hour into the 2018 one, but it might be worth streaming. I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens there. But guys, without further ado, the video's already 20 minutes long of me rambling. I'm gonna check out, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.